Hello everyone, I am Abhishek and I am back with new video of learning Angular. So initially in first two parts we discuss about the Angular and how to make the system ready for development. Now in part 3 we will look into the file structure and the initial structure and the files we have in when we create a new project. So to create a new project we have the we have to write this command ng new. This is learning Angular style equals to scss and routing equals to true. So again this ng part represent the command is an Angular command, and the new is a simple keyword that will represent to create a new project, and this learning Angular is the project name that I used to set. And again this style.scss, this is an optional part that will we need the css styling in our project. It will tell the compiler that in the project we will initially set the style sheet as css. And same thing, this is routing equals to true. This is again an optional part that represent the compiler to that we need the routing in our project. So just we look into the really to create how to create a project. And to do this, so just open the I'm using the GitHub command prompt, and you will also use the simple command prompt of the Windows system. So now let's write the command ng new learning Angular style equals to scss. Now when we enter the when we press the enter button, so this will again asking, do you want to enable server side rendering and static side generation? We will discuss this part in the later in the videos, upcoming videos. So for now I am saying no to this. Now the compiler is creating files or folders in the system. This will take some time, so just look into this. So after complete we will get this message, package installation successful. Now to open the project, just enter cd and your project name and press enter. This will move a path to the folder that we are creating, naming as in learning Angular. Now write code dot space dot and press enter. This command will open up the Visual Studio. So this will look like this. Now we have node modules folder, public folder, source. In a source we have app folder and index.html file, main.ts, all this. But initially we will main look into the uh, what what is we are getting node module, what is public. So for this, so now this is a node module. This is node modules folder. This is generally a libraries. We are using third-party libraries in an Angular project, and that we define the in the dependencies and dev dependencies section in the package.json file. We will look into the package.json file also, but initially I am giving only the small description about the folders and files. So is public folder is generally we are using this to maintain the assets, photos, and icons that is publicly available. And the next one is the source folder. The source folder is generally on the main heart of the Angular project. It contains all the files we are using, or the files maybe in service files, HTML files, anything that will uh, a major part on Angular project. So to understand and the content and structure of the source is a very basic and fundamentals to start working on an Angular project. Now we also have the git ignore. Git ignore just a normal file that will manage that when we used to commit the code on the git. So what file, which files we don't want to get commit when we commit the code or push the code on the git server. Uh, for an Angular package log and package JSON, we will look into this later. And the next file is the readme md. So this is generally a documentation file, and this generally md means the markdown file that contains heading, list, and code that will represent smaller section of the project. Okay. Now we have the tsconfig JSON file. This is also a very important file for an Angular project that will configure the TypeScript settings, that how we optimizing the project, how we checking manage project structures and all these things. So this will all the important files we have. Now just move ahead to check what the package or JSON files we have and what we have in an Angular or JSON file also. So this is the package.json file. Sorry. So this is the package.json file. In the package.json file, this is the first part is the name, which is an we have set when we create a new project learning Angular, and this is version 0.0.1. When we create a build, we will upgrade this by one. So initial 0 is the major release. After that, this mid release, and the last 0 is a minor release. So in the script part we have ng, and ng command represent again the Angular, and start we are having the command ng serve. So ng serve command is generally simple to compile the code and to run on the browser side. So and for ng build we write ng build command. Ng build command is generally to build the code to make that will create a distinct folder in the file structure. We will look into this also when we build our project, and that distinct folder we deploy on the any server. Okay. So the next one is a watch. So generally a watch instruct the compiler that we need to look into the changes on the files or the flow of the control when we run the project. So this is a watcher example. The name represent that we are watching something. Configuration development time, when we develop the code or run, that will we want to watch the changes, the change in the source file, or anything detect when we move from one page to another page or we change some routing part. So we will use the ng build watch. And again the next one is the ng test. So ng test is a very essential for maintaining the code and the quality, and ensures the functionality of the project that will be test on the automatic testing phase. So this is the part, and the next one is a private equals to true. So this keyword generally represent that what we is our project is publicly available, that when we create a library, npm libraries, then we set this private part to false. That it means that the project is publicly available, that someone is downloading and using. So now we are creating a simple project, so we are setting this true, that this is generally for some particular single part. So means it is used in this learning Angular project only. Okay. Then we have the dependencies. So this is generally angular.animation common compiler. This is the inbuilt packages when we create our project. So this is only we are defining that we are using angular and animation, and this is the version 18.0.0. And the definite and the node modules will contain the same folder, the files and all the packages files in the node modules. So this is the all we when we install any npm package, so this will line out here. In the next we have the dev dependencies. So dev dependencies are files that are very necessary for the development and testing purpose, but not running on the build. So dev dependency packages, when we run the ng build command, so dev dependencies packages will not come. So this is generally we are having the small description of the package.json. Now we next move to angular.json. So this file is very important. This will contain all the settings of architect, build, prefix of the semantics. So again, this is the projects and this is the project name. This is the project type. Project type we are containing an application. This is semantics. Semantics means when, as you remember, then when we create a new project, we set the style equals to SCSS. So so that command will set the semantic of the project to SCSS. Now this is a root. This is generally we are creating a blank. So when we build the project, so we are getting a distinct folder with the files build release. And source root, again what we have, what I earlier described as a source folder is a very much important. It's generally behave like a heart of an angular project. So this is prefix. Prefix is an app. So this represent that when we create any component, service or model, anything, so the prefix will come in the naming convention. So app is coming. So I generally believe that the prefix should be then the project name we are using. For my project, this we have the learning angular. We will make some shortcut key for this. So when we create any component in a project, so it will always starts with learning angular slash the component name. So that will when the our application will browse on the browsers, so the Google crawler will notice that there is so many names of learning angular. So this will little bit helpful for SEO in an angular. So in the next part is an architect in the build. This is again an angular library, angular dev kit, and we have some options that output when we build distinct slash learning angular. So when we create a build, then in the folder structure we get the new folder distinct, and in the distinct we have the subfolder learning angular that contains the build release files. Now index source.index.html, this is the very much initial first HTML that will load on the DOM when we run a project. This is generally contains some HTML syntax or HTML tags. We will let you know later when we create our first project. Then again, this is a browser file source.main.ts file also that we are using. Then polyfills, that is generally we have on the load. Then we have the ts config file also that I earlier described. The ts config file is generally used to make the setting of the TypeScripts to optimizing the codes and all these things. Then this assets folder, so this is glob, but everything we include in the assets folder we include in our project, and we also include the public folder also by representing input. And again styles, so source.style.scss files. So we are including only this file. This is a global style.css file. Anything, any design pattern or anything we want globally available to all the projects, so that design should be including in style.scss only. And also we have the script array here. So in this, any script we include in our project, and we don't want to put it in the index.html file. I will let you know this part also. So when the project build on the DOM, all the scripts is including automatically. So that script will be, we define that script in the this array script tags. So now in the next, this will continue part of then angular.json. So this is the next of the configuration. In the configuration we have so many part, production level also, then after that we have test part also, and we also have the development also. So in the production we have the budgets. This is generally initially when we create a build, the file size or the project size also is very important role for this. So when we set the maximum warning 500 KB, maximum error 1 MB. So initially we are, when we create a production build, and if we increasing the size more than 500 KB, they will give a warning here. And when it will increase 1 MB, then it will give you an error. So this is a general setting. We will, for the smaller project, we will set this according to our needs. And again, in the type, any component style means anything we are setting the SCSS file. So this should be maximum warning 2 KB. When the file size of SCSS of any component we are creating, this is 2 KB, and maximum error when it reach the 4 KB or more than 4 KB, this will give you an error. So in the development, and the next part is development. In the development, we do not want any optimization and source mapping on a set license part. So by default, when we write only the ng build command, so by default ng build command will take or will run the default configuration, that is production. So in the next, we have a configuration of, this is the development configuration, and in the test we have, when we run the ng test command, then this test configuration will run. So this is about then angular.json part. So when we really look into the project, so it will be look like this. So this is an angular.json part. Again, this is the file we have, okay, and this is again the package.json file we have, okay, and build same thing, and this is a tsconfig file, then output directory name, strict, no implement override. This is all the keywords of all the setting default we have, the target ES2022 modules, experimental decorator true declaration. This is all the tsconfig settings. So this is an angular compile. When we compile the code, we are enable i18 multi languages part. Initially we set, it will set to true. Strict inject parameter is set to true. So this is the settings of any TypeScript part. So next we are moving to our so thank you for watching this, and I really love to get feedbacks on the videos. So again, thank you so much.